right, good morning, everyone. Merry Christmas. All right, let me make sure this is working right. Good to see you, Ted and Vicky, here early as always. All right, guys, if you're watching on the replay, we welcome you as well. And this is our Christmas boot camp, only released at this point to our iMusicAcademy members. And we're going to have a lot of fun with this. I probably will offer this to anyone in the public, but I'm still processing that. I really want to focus. I'll probably do it with an invitation to try out our membership or something like that. Anyway, I'm thinking through all that, but the main thing is I want to focus on everyone here. And Vicky and Ted, it's good to see you. Let's talk about the Christmas Eve boot camp, and we'll jump right in. So you guys saw that inside the email that I sent, we have the reminder of the Christmas or the stream folder, which is really important. All of our things are in there, including play-alongs. You guys know this. The Bob songbooks are in there. And now we have the Christmas boot camp in there. So let me give you a quick tour while my music is up. I am going to try to minimize this window as much as I can. But let me put it right there, and you guys can let me know. Let me shrink it down a little bit and just see if we can make this work. I'm just going to give you guys a quick tour of the boot camp, what to expect to learn over this 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever that we're doing. Christmas in October, I'll explain in just a second why we're doing this. But here's the quick tour is, all right, Christmas PDF. You guys know that we have a lot to deal with here in this boot camp. And if you want to look at any of the files, you just click this button right here, the camera icon, and it'll take you to all those practice things. Now, why did I start it out with 15 tips? Because these are super important things that, one, you can play in all keys, but it quickly goes from these warm-up exercises that are great to do to so if we're playing Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells, you could even go boom, right? So you're using little phrases and patterns we will be using to play all of these tunes. And these are all, even though they're simple 5-minute practice success things, these are things that can really help you thrive as a soloing, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or even advanced. These are super important. And let me give you an example as we scroll through these 15 tips for 5-minute success, is you have this example right here, right? Even if I'm playing Jingle Bells and our Down Home, which that's our tune for the day, we're doing a solo piano along with the track Jingle Bells, Jingle Bell Blues. So what we're going to do is know that after you learn the tune, you're going to have these examples that you could play. If I play, oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh, and then I go, right? So you'll have improv ideas that you can use. And then if you also see, there's some really important things right here about like starting on the flat 7. Ba-da-da-da-da-da, right? We did that in our pop-up lesson yesterday. Dee-da-da-da-da-dum. So if I'm playing Jingle Bells, I can do that. Or it says jazzy lick and C, this idea of ba-boo-da-doo-dee-da-da-da. If I'm playing Jingle Bells, I go, oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, right? Even when I go to F. So when we get into some jazzy type things, you know that you can use the major third sounds really great when you're in C major. And even when I'm playing that simple thing, I'm thinking about the melody to Jingle Bells. Okay, so as you go down, then you have the Won't You Come and Join Us, just a simple blues whenever we do a boot camp. Won't you come and join us now? It's an IMA boot camp. All right, then we get into the Christmas Eve blues. And then the Jingle Bells Blues, which is the song for today, which we'll start in just a minute. And then we're going to get into IMA jingle chord arpeggios. So as we learn the Jingle Bell, the jazz version, which won't be today, but we'll talk about it if we have time. But you have this 3-6-9 C major voicing that we're going to make sure that we learn, and then you learn how to do arpeggios over this stuff. So after you play the melody, da 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 da, you have these. They're going to sound great. All of these ideas, and when you go to G minor, so you learn these simple shapes that are going to help you really level up your jazz playing. Then we have IMA jingle chord voicings, right? This is how you play. This is how beautiful that sounds. These are the kind of sounds you're going to make if you're playing comping voicings, right? You're playing in a little jazz trio, and these are simple voicings. We'll talk about how to build those and how to practice them in half step. You immediately will sound like a pro over these backing tracks when you learn these simple voicings. Then going down here, you have the IMA Jingle Bell trio chords. So we learn how to play these chords as well as do the melody. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. In the same way that we do our jazz left-hand voicings. These really simple but beautiful voicings that beginners and pros use. Then you have blues patterns, right? I went ahead and put the 5-finger patterns to remind you of the different ways to turn around the blues. Then we have a whole major scale section. I want you guys to be able to play your major scales, all of them, and use all of the fingerings. So all of these are the fingerings that I use myself, and I wanted to make sure you guys have those. So every key is included. And why would I want you guys to know all of your major scales? Because if you know your major scales and you really learn them, you can spell any chord that you need to do, right? We can do C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, let me just check the chat really quick. Oh, what's up? What's up, David? I guess we are public. So good to see you, David. We're just going to stay public then. So I did not realize right away. So yesterday I did a public stream, and so obviously I left it on that. David, good to see you. And we are glad you're here. All right, so Ted and Vicky so far, and anybody else who sees this, we're glad to have you. All right, so let's go back to the Jingle Bell Blues. You guys go ahead and make sure you download the stream folder. Right, and you get the Christmas boot camp from the stream folder, and we've got it pulled up right here. And let's go ahead and let's focus on the blues, the down home blues first. You'll just click on that and go down, and we're going to do Jingle Bell Blues. Okay. First thing is, on this one, we're doing the basic 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys know this. This is what we started when we did example 1, right? From Blues Volume 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to stay with quarter notes for now. We're going to do a very simple 1, 2, 3, 4. In our right hand, we have G, C, and E. Okay? G, C, and E is our second inversion triad. Remember that our root position, first inversion, and second inversion, just G, C, E. And this is really important because the melody's in the top, right? Jingle bells, jingle all the way. The first part of the Jingle Bells melody fits right under the hand, right under the triad. Middle finger is going to be on your starting note, and it's the third of the triad. Jingle all the way. And then we go, oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Okay, so all that fits under the hand. So in order to make the melody work, we have to have a C major triad in second inversion because it has the melody on top. And we're just going to do this basic jingle bells. Jingle bells. Now I adapted, instead of just staying on the E, we went down by a half step. Now what is that? It's the B major triad. Jingle bells, just creating a little fun tension there. Jingle bells, jingle bells. And then we do the melody. Now I'm going to put my third finger on the E because now we're working on this triad. It's jingle all the way. And notice that I put a little syncopation in there. Jingle all the way. 1, 2, 3, and 3. So if you look at the second line, I have our 3 and our flat 7, which are called our guide tones, right? The third of the scale tells you, of the chord, tells you whether or not it's a major sounding, happy sounding, or a minor sound, but this is a 3 and a flat 7. So the 7th note tells you whether or not it's a major 7 or a dominant or a bluesy 7. And remember that we can play really beautiful, simple voicings with just these guide tones. Our 3rd and our 7th really do a good job of outlining that this is a C7, a bluesy kind of chord. And I just realized this morning that I didn't put the chord names on this particular PDF, so I'm actually going to fix that. I'll add the chords. Even though it's a simple blues, we're going to try to redo that and maybe even get it on one page, because we did this in 2 pages. So I'll add the chord symbols on this sheet. Most of them have it. I just don't know why this one doesn't, but we'll work on that. So let's go back to the top. Jingle, and then we'll turn on the track. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now, why did I put that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4? And why did I put that little comping chord? Because anytime we have a little space, it's not a bad idea to add a little comping rhythm, something to fill in that gap. So I like the sound of it. So then that carries us over to the next thing, which is our F, right? Our F is our 1 and 5 of an F scale, our 3, our 5, and our root. So when we play, oh, what fun it is to ride in a, oh, what fun, we're on the melody is an F. So that's why we're using an F triad in first inversion. Oh, what fun it is to ride. Then I go back to this other one. I'm on F first inversion to a C in second inversion. Now, why is this important right here? I'm playing 2 triads, very simple, but I'm going from a first inversion, A, C, and F, to a C major, G, C, and E. Now, when we play blues and jazz and gospel, there are all kinds of ways to do these triads, and this is a very common one to go from here to here. You hear that often. G in second, C in second inversion to F. Da, 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 da. Okay, so we'll talk a little more about that later, but the most important thing is you're going to be on F to G. Da, da. And then the next measure has D9 chord. Now, why is that a D9? Because I know my D major scale, we know our D major scale has 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Okay, so our 3rd is F sharp. Our C is our flat 7 of D. Well, how do you find the flat 7 of any note, any chord you're working on? Just go down a whole step. So from D down to C. And then we have our E on top. That makes it a D9. Why is it a D9 and not a D2? Because anytime you add that flat 7 and then you're adding notes on top, now it's a D9. One horse open. All right, so let's do this. Let's actually play along with the track, and let me check the chat. Again, good to see you. Hey, Peter. Good to see you as always. I knew Peter was going to show up. So we've obviously gone live with this, so we welcome anybody who's watching this. As I mentioned earlier, I thought I was going live for just our membership group, but I did a live yesterday on YouTube and went public with that. So hello and good morning to anybody who's watching this. We're glad you're here. Awesome. Hey, David, it's awesome that you're here. I'm glad that I did that. So stick around. And David, email me, Bob at iMusicAcademy, and since you tuned in, I'm going to send you the book. So go ahead and do that, okay? All right, so that you'll have the boot camp to go along with it. And put in the chat if you're still here and that you got that message. And anybody else who says something in the chat, if you want the book, I will send it to you just for hanging out. Okay, so now we're at the D7. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, guys, is I created a play-along for us on this song. So it's the IMA Jingle Bells Blues, and I've created a Christmas boot camp play-along. And so let's do this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let me turn down the bass a little bit. Now, because the bass is doing its own line, there are going to be some conflicting kind of notes that go with that. Just know that I'm going to turn down the bass a little bit. And we could actually do this with just drums and it'll sound great because we're not doing a trio. Let me turn that down. Okay, let's just do it without the bass for right now. So we go. Awesome, David. And 2. All right, so you see how just by having that groove going is really nice. And what I love about the app is even though that I created this nice little play along that we can use for blues or for jazz, that we can turn down on the mixer and we can make it to be just drums if we want to. And in a solo piano version, which that's what this is, it's going to sound a little muddy, a little dissonant at times when the bass is playing a certain line and we're playing a different simple bass line. So that's why I turned the bass off. But let me go ahead and start this over with just the drums. And I'm going to play along down the chart so we hear it again. So we got... Jingle all the way and F. Scrolling down. And F. All right, let's talk about the last part. So the very last couple of measures, you're at the F. Oh, what fun it. And then it goes back to that F over A is to ride. And then you get to this G13. Oh, one horse open sleigh. Da, 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 da. It's actually not a full G13. It doesn't have the flat 7 in it, but it's really like an E minor over this. So you have that D sharp, and whenever I'm playing certain chords where I can slide the black key to the white key, I just like the looseness of that. And so that D sharp slides in, you have one horse, and now I'm F in first inversion, open. And I went to, right there, I went to basically like a D minor in first inversion, open, and ended with a C major in first inversion. So we have one horse, open sleigh, and then you go back to your G again. Okay, now let's turn on the track and let me try to play the whole thing. And then we'll talk about how you can improvise over this. And then we'll have time to dig into the simple jazz version. Again, this is the easy version of this. So we have this. F in first inversion. D9. And then, oh, we didn't talk about that really quick. So after the D7, D9, one horse open sleigh. Now that is a G7 right there. You had the flat 7 of a G scale, the 3rd and the 5th. How do you know that's a G7? Because you go down a whole step from the root, and that'll give you the flat 7 of any note. And I'm playing this, and once again, I like the sound of sliding my B flat to B. So we have this D9, one horse open sleigh. And I put those two together. I have a G chord right there, a G7. and then I put that top note, which you get the E minor triad, which kind of gives me that G13 sound. If you combine that, that gives you the flat 7. It's like this. Let me find my pedal. So that's a G13 right there. So, and then I'm going to the last part. The last part. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a... And here we go. And that part you have to kind of practice and isolate the last part. One horse open sleigh. And let me tell you why. Because you're using this E minor in second inversion where you're sliding off one horse, and now you have to think F triad in first inversion to a D minor in first inversion. Open, open, and then you end on C major in first inversion. Now, notice that my hand shape doesn't change at all. I'm spread out a certain amount, and it works great over the F in first inversion. Let me check something on my email really quickly. David, I don't know if you've already emailed me, but I was going to send you a link. You can wait till after, but if you want to look at it now, you can do that. Some people are on their phones, and some people are on their computers watching this. So sometimes, or you have a tablet, and if you have a tablet or a way to watch and check your email and download the PDF, sometimes people have a way to look at both at the same time. All right, now why are we doing this again in October? Because what my experience is, when you start getting around to practicing, whether you're playing for a gig or for your family, by the time December gets here, guess what? It's too late. And probably every year, most musicians say, you know, I would really like to be able to play for Christmas, something for Christmas. So my hope is that you'll be able to learn whether or not it's one of the simple things, simple arrangements, or the very complicated jazz things that we do, that I want you to be able to play something for either your family or get a gig, because we have tons of talented musicians that are part of our membership. And really, it doesn't matter what age or stage you are in music. We're all in this together. All right, let's do this. Let's turn on the play along one more time and play this, and then we'll go get into the jazz one. 2, 3, 4. We had this. F in first inversion. So real quick, let me stop this. After you've learned the melody and you learned exactly how to play it, exactly how it is, right? Then you start to say, all right, well, let's go back and let's use some of our blues roadmaps that we've been working on. Like I just did this at the end that you could throw in. Anytime you get to any of those chords, you can use any of the things we've been working on, right? So when you do a one horse open, 3 up to the root, right? Or I could even use that over the D when you go, oh, what fun it is to ride. Now watch this over the D. Right? Let's try. We won't do jazz just yet. All right, we have 12 people watching. I want to do something. Okay, no problem. So we have 12 people watching. So here's what I want to do to you. if you put your name in the chat and say hello, I will send you the Christmas Eve boot camp just as a way of saying thanks for hanging out. And this is only while we're watching this. But I thought I was going live for anybody watching. I thought I was going live for our membership group, and they always have access to everything. But then we started seeing other people hop on. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and I want to send you this PDF. So all you have to do is say hello in the chat, and then send me an email, bob@iMusicAcademy.com, and I will send you a link to download it. Okay? All right, so let's go back to this quick tip idea. Is you've got this tune down, right? You have the track to play along with, but then you start putting little ideas. Like I could actually play Blues Example 1 from Blues Volume 1. It's a little bluesy way right before I get to the F chord, or maybe I want to do that thing that I was just showing you, right? It's from Blues Volume 1. Very simple idea. Or I could do, right, the A blues scale. And if you need more reminders of what ideas you can do, just remember that inside this PDF you have the 15 tips for 5-minute success. And I can go to these, there are blues scale ideas. You have right here, you have your top half of the blues scale, right? Anytime there's a bluesy sound, you can get that. You can also go down here and you can play the first example from iMusicAcademy, this one right here. Or you can play that idea of dee-da-da-da-da-da, right? That's really nice. Or ba-bo-da-da-da-da-da, that's also in there. Or even this, right? That's a fun little thing that you can put in as a nice little bluesy thing. All right, now if you go down here, this idea of the C6 lick, right? I was just showing you an easy way to do that. This is a great example of something you need to learn, and you can put it in all keys. There's just a couple little things that you have to know when you're learning how to transpose. We talk about that all the time. All right, now let me do this. Let me turn on the track, and let's just say we just got done playing, and now I'm improvising. And maybe go back to the melody. You get it. That's just 2 ideas out of thousands you can do. If I was going to play this idea, I would do it right before I go to the F chord. So you're going jingle bells, jingle bells, and then right there, and then you're on the oh what fun it is to ride. All right, let's go. Let's move along and make sure we go over a little bit of the jazz thing. I think it'd be fun to do that. All right, last thing I'll say about the IMA Jingle Blues, reminder that you can play any bass line that you want to go over this, right? I think we have, 20-something bass lines that we've done. So as I'm playing you the simple one for you, you could play it in 1/8 notes. Play or I could do so lots of different bass lines you can do. once you learn the bass lines and you practice separately and you work on those, then you can play any one of them and not have too much trouble doing that. All right, let's keep going here. I'm going to go to one of the jazzy ones. So you have IMA, jingle chord, arpeggios. These are good to learn because one, you have your voicings 3, 6, 9, and then your right hand you have 3, 5, major 7, 9. Now, if you just look at that, that's an E minor 7 chord. Why in the world is that important? Because it's good to know not only root position arpeggios in jazz, but it's also good to know other versions as well. Like for instance, when you get to that G minor 7, C7, you see this right here. Right? Why is that important? Because you have all these different ideas. All kinds of fun things that we have when we start working on that. But that's not what I want to go over now. I want to show you two other very quick things. Actually, we have a little more time today because it's a Thursday. So technically we have 27 more minutes. All right, so we have the IMA Jingle Bells chord voicings. Let's go ahead and talk about a few of these. And this is more for the jazzy side of things. And let me pull up the Jingle Bell Jazz, because I think I already did this one as well. Yes, okay, so I'm adding this to our playlist as well, and you guys are going to love this. Christmas Boot Camp. Let me turn up the bass. All right, let me scroll. Before we do the chord voicings, let's go ahead and do this. So we have in our left hand, we're going to do 3, 6, 9. Now there are lots of different ways to play major voicings for our left hand, right? One way that you can play is a 3, 6, 9 voicing. It's a shape built on fourths, so E up to A, E up to D. Now I recommend this shape for all pianists because it's so versatile and you can play so many, not only left-hand voicings, but right-hand voicings too, which we talk about all the time, how to build chord voicings, but this is one of your most important shapes. In this case, we're using it for 3, 6, 9, and I want you to do, instead of playing the melody the way it's written down an octave, we're going to put the melody up the octave, just so it doesn't get in the way of our voicings. But this is a very, very basic jazz intro way to play this, but it's still really important. So we have 3, 6, 9 for our C major 7. We played the melody. Jingle all the way. Now, when you get to here, you're going to give me another 3-note voicing for our left hand for G minor. That's the flat 7. That's the flat 3 of a G scale, and that's the 5 of a G scale. And then we call this pinky up, and pinky down in our blues when we play our blues. But you can play a 2-5 by playing a G minor 7 like that, flat 7, flat 3, and 5, and then pinky down gives you a C9 chord, E, B flat, D. And you guys know from our lessons lately is that this C9 is a great simple 3-note voicing that works great. Anytime you play a C7 voicing, you can play a 3-note voicing and that sounds fantastic. Yes, you can even add, of course, more notes. You can add the A, which gives you a thick 13 voicing, right? But we're just doing right now C9. And for our F, we're going to just do this voicing for now. It looks like an A minor in second inversion. It's just the major 7, the 3, and the 5, and you go back to that, and then you have a D9. Well, why is that a D9? How do I know that's a D9? Because there's a D7 chord symbol, and then to play the third of a D major scale, normally D does have 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Taking the third note with our pinky, our flat 7, how do you know that's the flat 7? Because that's D, I'm going to go down a whole step, and then my 9, that gives me D9. Da 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 da. Now watch this, from this D 9 voicing, all I have to do is put my pinky down, and that gives me D minor 9. And one thing that we talk about all the time is that a minor 9 wants to go to a G13. A minor 9 chord wants to go to a 13 chord. And all you have to do is change one note. This flat 7 goes down to the 3rd now of G13. Now, for anybody watching and thinking, well, how is he talking about all these chords and spelling all these things? This is something we do every week. We do, a lot of these are on repeat. I'll say, all right, how do you build a 3-6-9 chord? You take the 3rd note of the major scale, the 6, and the 9. Well, why is that a 9? Because you say we're adding notes on top, and there are lots of different ways we talk about this. The great thing is, once you get these shapes down, you can always use them. For instance, this D9 voicing, I play this voicing all the time. And so if I see a chord symbol that says D7, I'm not going to just play, most of the time, not just going to play a root position one if I'm playing jazz trio, because the bass player is usually playing that. So I'm going to play a first inversion with the flat 7 and the 9, right? Awesome. Okay, so let's keep going, and let's actually turn on the track and listen to this. And I'm putting this into our practice stream folder. And here we go. We have Jingle Bells. Alright, let's talk about this really quickly. So, isn't that nice how easy that was, that arrangement? Anybody see how easy that was? Love the upper structure chords? Yes, Ted. Absolutely. And those all of those fourth voicings help you achieve that, doesn't it? Alright, so let me scroll down here just to make sure we're live on the chat. If you are enjoying this, let's try to get to 10 likes by the end of this stream. And when you play that simple jazz arrangement of Jingle Bells, it's putting jazz trio chords along with the melody, and I'm not doing anything else but those simple voicings along with the play along, and it sounds like you're playing in a jazz trio. And then what you can do is, after you've learned this whole arrangement, then you start adding very simple ideas, and you have all of these ideas up here that you can use at the top. My mouse is going crazy there. Let me try this again. Scroll down a little bit. And we have all these ideas. Now, because we're playing a mostly major song now, we don't want to get too heavy into the blues scale, straight up blues, because it's going to sound weird. But we're going to think more major sound like this. So let me give you this. See what I'm doing? So now, watch. So I'm doing major sound. Stop this real quick. All right, so let me give you one idea. One thing you might want to do is we're going to get into outlining chord changes. So like, for instance, on C, we're going to do a simple improvisation on C when you're on the C chord. Da, 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 da is one idea. We could just stay around here and slide up. Ba, da, da, boo, da, 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 boo, da, da. And all I'm doing right now is picking chord tones to do my improvisation. One fun thing you can do is da, 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 kind of sliding from that minor third to major third. And another lick that will sound great, this one will never fail you, is using the idea of the C6 lick. So you're arpeggiating the C chord, and you're even putting that A in and then the octave on top. 1 and 2 and then 3 and. So even when I'm doing these simple improvisation ideas, I'm thinking about the melody. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. But I'm still thinking about how can I play something simple that's going to still outline the chord changes. And outlining the chord changes means I'm playing notes within the chord. Da, 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 da. Now occasionally I might do a chromatic note, something to get me into the next chord tone. Da, 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 da. And when I go to F, it's the same thing. Ba, da, boo, da, 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 on D. And then just for fun, I did this. All right, let's turn on the track and let's have fun with this. So let's just mess around with this as an improvisation. 2 and 3, 4, and really quickly. Now, what I just did was, instead of just playing major stuff, I started thinking a little more bluesy at times, right? Maybe you could hear that. And all I was doing to make that work is to play a little bit more bluesy sound and occasionally adding licks from like volume 2. Even we could put Dean's lick in there, right? Right? All right, does that make sense? If it does and you're enjoying this, put that in the chat. We have 8 people watching. Another thing that I did, Ted, and you could hear this, and Vicky, is that idea of the triplet, right? This is in our easy road maps, right, that we do. So minor third to major third. And then to end that bluesy section off, before I went to the F chord, I went this, you'll never go wrong if you're improvising in this key of C. And remember that you go down 3 half steps and you play the first 4 notes of the A blues scale. All right, watch this. I'm going to show you right here in this PDF. This is exactly why I put all these ideas in this PDF, is because I want you not only to learn how to play all of these blues and jazz Christmas songs and get a jump start in October, but I want you to have all these improv ideas. And this is a perfect example of using one that these two connect to each other. It's your A7 or your A blues first 4 notes, and that's connecting to that sort of do nothing till you hear from me lick, which outlines that major third that we want to hear. So as I turn on the track, let's listen to that. Let's just say I want to get that sound. So even though I'm on the major third, I'm hinting around kind of blues. So even though, you know, it kind of sounded at times maybe a little too bluesy, but sometimes you just take one idea and like, can I make this work? Does it sound good to me, right? We're going along in the same way we would do that if we were playing solo piano and you go, oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. You get the idea. Okay, now let's keep going down. So you have that bluesy thing. The other thing is, do nothing till you hear from me. Boom. That is measure 25 in the PDF. And as a reminder, if anybody is watching this, and since we're live, I said that as long as this stream is going on, since we're public, that if you want this PDF, I'll send it to you. All you have to do is email me, bob@imusicacademy.com. It's my way of saying thanks for hanging out. All right, let's go ahead and turn on the track. Let's see if we can get the do nothing till you hear from me sound. 2, 3, 4. Flat 7. So at times I'm going to be thinking bluesy, at times I'm going to be thinking major. All right, here's the secret sauce of the day. Who's ready for the secret sauce? There's this thing, so you have your major scale, right? All your notes, all those are going to work, and that's going to sound great. But if you really want your chord tones on downbeats, you need to add one extra note. So if we're going up, it works. Ba-da-da-da-da, chord tones on downbeats, but on the way down, it doesn't work. Ba-da-da-da-da. Oh, that sounds horrible. You have to add one note on the way down. You add that G sharp. Right? Jingle bells. And what I like to do sometimes is if I get one idea in my mind that I want to work on, like just for a second I thought, you know what? I made sure that I showed you guys that on your G7, you go third up to your root, and that's example number 10 in our Blues Volume 1, right? And you practice that, and you can practice that technically all the way down the keyboard. But for now, we're just doing and so when it got to the D7, I wanted to play it there because it's the same fingering, and I'm using that as my focus. So I'm practicing playing that in different spaces. Another thing that I like to do, so I'm using one idea and practicing along with the melody. Let me demonstrate that. So let's say my melody, I'm playing Jingle Bells, really focusing. And watch this. Get to that third. Same thing on F. Melody. D7 arpeggio, D minor. Now I'm going to go to a different sheet really quick. We're going to go to this outline. Let's go over these outlines. So you have the third note up to the major 9. Let's see how that sounds. And then you have now the idea on this idea, hold on a second, the idea on this idea is that when we first learn our arpeggios, we learn them root position, which is super important. But even when you go up and you start doing extensions, you start to hear some different possibilities. And even when I go to the G minor to C7, that gives me a nice, beautiful G minor 9 sound. And then that gives me a C9 sound if I'm right here. So you want to practice. And then C, and then F major 9. Now, the goal is not to play this in your improvisation just exactly like that. You start to make it your own. But it's a great thing to practice because not only are you learning the sound of the G minor 9 there, that extra note, it sounds really nice. Like when we play Perdido and you're using that minor 9 sound. Right, it comes from that idea of using the minor 9. So if I was in G minor 9, right, same exact concept. It's that beautiful. Let me push the pedal down. Right? What a beautiful sound to play, right? And that's just a simple C9 chord. So learning those arpeggios are really going to help give you more facility. All right, now let's get to the money part of these comping voicings. All right, who's ready to close out with some awesome chord voicings? We need to get at least up to 8 likes. Come on, we can do that. I'm going to turn on the track and I'm going to practice through these. Let's try to get a few more comments in and a few more likes. So easy and they work so well. Let's do it one more time. You don't have to be busy when you play this. So why in the world would you play those kinds of voicings? If you're playing in a jazz trio, you can play these voicings while the bass player is doing his solo very, very softly and very sparse. But if you have a horn player or something, you play these comping voicings. You're complimenting the soloist. You play over his solo. And the way these voicings work is I have them written out in whole notes and half notes. And that's so that you can learn them. But then you kind of use your own judgment as to how long you want to hold them. And sometimes you hear me going up or down by half step. That's very normal to do. So it's good to be able to practice these in all keys, but just know that you're very light and very simple when you're playing behind somebody. But comping, you can learn how to play really complex, big chord voicings for comping, but comping really happens the majority of the time in this area right here because it's not too high and too low and doesn't get in the way of too many of the instruments. So just know that you don't have to play really complex voicings to sound good. To give you an example, on this C major, if I play 3, 6, 9, there's that voicing again, that fourth voicing, and on top I have a major third on the top of the G, which gives me a really beautiful sounding simple voicing, right, for a C major. So anytime I do that, there are a couple things that I notice right away is, yes, it's that 3, 6, 9, but this is a fourthy voicing. That means it's built on fourths. Fourth, interval of a fourth. E up to A is a fourth, A up to D is a fourth, and D up to G is a fourth. And then on top you have this B, which is a major third. It's not a fourth, it's a third. But you have this sound. And the reason that that's really neat and important is because notice that my right hand is a G major triad, right? That's a visual that you can say, oh, that's as I'm looking at that, as I go up a half step, oh, now it's an A flat triad, is a shortcut to kind of go, oh, you know what? I'm playing this chord, but that's a G major triad. So there's lots of ways to look at these voicings. The most important thing is you learn it. Once you learn it, in this voicing right here, you'll always have it as a C major voicing that you could play. If you're in a band, you're wanting to play in a jazz trio, that's a great voicing. You learn that in all keys, and right there you have a major voicings. And then if you'll look, guys and girls, you have your D minor G7 at the end right here. You have this voicing right here. Very simple voicing to play 2, 5, 1. In any key, you can use that formula. Flat 3, flat 7, 9, 5, and root on this one. And all you have to do is change one note to get from that D minor 9 to the G13. And then you get back to that. All right, if you have enjoyed this Christmas boot camp, please let me know in the chat. We're going to wrap it up here. Chordal, yes, chordal voicings are awesome. And we're going to go from basic to a little more difficult, but the main thing is we're going to learn a bunch of tunes. So you have your 5-finger blues patterns in this boot camp PDF, and then you have your major scales at the bottom. And then, guys, we're not done. You have O Christmas Tree that we're going to do that has comping voicings as well. You have O Christmas Tree exercises, like you're playing 3, 6, 9, and you're doing the giant steps pattern as you're learning, right? And then you have even half diminished. So you're learning about arpeggiation, another very basic introduction to that. And then you have the melody to O Christmas Tree and those voicings. Then you have O Christmas Tree comping Santa Claus is Coming to Town using our voicings. And then we have some other voicings at the end. Okay. We're going to wrap it up for today. What's up, Hugh? Hugh is like, he's like a ninja. He gets in at the last minute. So I want to give a shout out to our members that are on this stream. So Vicky is of course a member. Ted is of course a memory. Ted is of course a member. We have Peter, who is of course a member, and we have Hugh, who sneaks always into the last minute. I love it. He's like a ninja. He knows that if I'm about to get off, he'll jump in. Very proud of all of you. And also, we want to say thank you to David for hanging out with us. Everybody give David a shout out again. We had no idea we were going live outside of the membership area, but I'm glad we did. And I gave my offer that's going to expire in 5 minutes. I basically said, anybody who's watching the live, if you emailed me while the live is going on, I'll give you a copy of the book. Just as a way of saying thanks. And anybody who's interested in becoming a member, this is a side note. Wasn't planning on doing this. We have a membership area of, well, not only is it a membership area, but we also have weekly practice sessions twice a week with me, Mondays and Thursdays, and we also have pop-up lessons, as they'll tell you, almost 2 extra practice lessons a week. But we're a great community. Again, it doesn't matter your age and your stage. We have a lot of retired guys. We have people who are in bands. It's really fun. And somewhere around 20 is what we have, and consistently we have an amazing group that supports each other. And it doesn't matter, again, I say this all the time, it doesn't matter your level of ability. It is a great community. It doesn't matter if you're a youngster or you're retired. We love everybody in our group, and it's just so much fun. And the investment that you give is literally less than 1 lesson with me per month. And that's all I ask, is that you give me that, and I promise to over deliver always. And when you're a member at iMusicAcademy, for that, when you actually join our group, you get everything for. It doesn't ever cost you a cent more than the less than 1 lesson with me per month. So that's my commitment to you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. And since we have some people that are just watching now, and I'm sure several of those are just people hanging out, email me, bob@imusicacademy.com, and I'll send you this Christmas Bootcamp PDF. Now, for my members, people who are actually are part of the iMusic Academy family, we are doing this Christmas in October thing. So on Mondays and Thursdays of this month, we're doing jazz and blues based on this Christmas boot camp. So we are officially in the October boot camp, but we also do things, and let me just give you guys a quick tour of this. Isn't even the membership area. I'm just going to show you one very small piece of iMusic Academy. The membership area has tons of courses, and it's really fantastic. But let me show you this. I want to make sure I'm going to pull up the Google Drive. This is our stream folder. This is our weekly thing. I send out a link every Monday. We have people that watch the stream early on Monday mornings, or sometimes they watch it Monday night or Tuesday, because we have people scattered all throughout the world at iMusic Academy. Again, we have about 20 members. And then we have play-along tracks. We have theory things. This is really important. So we have members, Ted, Vicky, who create things for other people. And Dean is another member who's created things. So like voicing charts. I'm showing you guys. Let me make sure I'm showing you guys this. Yeah. So they're creating content for each other and for all of the other members, which is pretty amazing. And I'm working with also with students to help create content. Ted has been awesome the way he's created these PDFs for our members, as well as Vicky. And so you have this is just our weekly practice folder. So you have IMA Jazz, where you have our Dean's List Blues, which I gave our students hey, create your own blues, send it to me, and we'll write it out. So we have the Dean's List Blues. We did that yesterday, and we have tracks with all of these things. It's so fun. So now we have a Dean's List Blues, and for those of you who were on yesterday, I did the Dean's List Blues, and we create tracks. So the Dean's List Blues. This is Dean's song. So this is the kind of thing that we do on a weekly basis, a daily basis. So you have tunes that we've written for all of our members, right? They have Dave's Leaving on a Plane, Dave's Leaving on a Plane, all these fun songs. And then let me show you this, because this is so good. How iMusicAcademy has evolved over the last 2 years. You have, of course, our Christmas Eve boot camp is in here now, but Bob Songs Volume 1 and 2. I'm just going to click Bob Songs Volume 2 just to show you how crazy this is. Again, I'm not in the membership area. I'm in the stream folder. This is our weekly practice sessions. You have blues and jazz songs with Bob. This is volume 2. You got blues trio on the move, Happy Saturday blues, low volume blues, and a lot of these blues and songs were based on our weekly lessons. So every lesson is going to teach you some important factor about how you can learn blues and jazz, and it can help you. So these books are really extensive and awesome, and we use them every week. And then I'll show you the other one, Bob Song Volume 1. And let me show you this. So these are interactive PDFs. So you click on this and it'll take you to the audio version of this song. But this I See a Pattern Blues is a perfect example of you taking one of our songs. Even in those first 4 measures, are a ton of material to practice. Even if I was playing Jingle Bells, I can put that oh, what fun it is to ride. Right? So you have all these things you can do, and it's just loaded with these songs. All right, so let me go back, and I forgot to tell you one important thing. Awesome. Okay, here's the important thing, is while we were playing the Jingle Bells thing, I told you the secret sauce, and I mentioned that G sharp, right? So on the way down, that's called the major bebop sound, the bebop major scale. So you put the G sharp on the way down. So a fun thing to practice is this. So you have the scale coming down. It puts the chord tones on downbeats, but listen to this. If you start on B, this is your lick of the day. Now, how could you use that? And in addition to playing it in all keys, let's just turn on the Jingle Bell Blues here. 2 and 3. Wait, we need the jazz version. 2 and 3. Wait, that's not it. I've got to go back to our Christmas boot camp real quick. So here we go. 2, 3. You can practice. Then go back to the melody. Exercise, just practice that. So same thing, any key that you're in, you're going to start on the major 7 of that particular scale. Cool? Or you can play just the straight up scale. The bebop major scale. That's one thing that trips us up a lot when we're learning about playing jazz and things like that. On the way up, it sounds great. All the chord tones are on downbeats, but on the way down, our chord tones don't fit. So you need that G sharp. All right, you guys have 2 minutes to give me your reflections on today's lesson and your excitement or not excitement for the rest of October in our Christmas boot camp, and then we'll sign off. Awesome. It was fun hanging out, everyone. David, I'll be checking my email, and anybody else who wants the PDF, you have 5 minutes starting now to email me, bob@iMusicAcademy.com. Everyone have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.